We're going to start off with applause today. It is 1:05 p.m. in Kitsap County. It is Wednesday. You know what time it is. It is Tipping Points and Puzzle Pieces. This is episode number 107. Give the horn for consistency. And of course, as you know, I'm here. I'm usually here, but I'm not always here. The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Consistent. You might as well call him Mr. October for those who are old enough to know who that is. Reggie Jackson for the New York Yankees. Mark Boatwright Frost. Let's bring him on up. How are you doing?
Just don't let me strike out. If you're going to use a Reggie Jackson line,
well, but you're Mr. October, though. I mean, right? It's still good.
All good.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It has been insanely busy, and so many things are happening that are good things. So, yeah, which is why we're having a board meeting on Friday afternoon or Friday evening.
I noticed. Yeah. It was like, oh, hey, can you make Friday work? Like, okay.
Yeah, so we are doing a lot of things. You see this picture behind my head here. That is the new project logo.
Do like this. There you go.
That is the new project logo for what we're doing. We're revamping Resilient Ecosystems messaging a little bit. Ooh. Because we realized that, yes, it's about resiliency projects. What does that mean to the average person? Oh, it's a project somebody else is doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're starting to call it the Resilient Community Movement.
Ooh, Resilient Movement?
Resilient Community Movement.
Resilient Community Movement. CRM.
And that's what we're going to be talking about today. RCM.
Oh, Resilient Community Movement.
Yes, RCM.
Hey, you know what?
He's keeping me on my toes.
All right, Resilient Community Movement. I like it.
So it kind of takes it away. For us, it's a project. For Resilient Ecosystems, the organization, this is a project. But for you, for everybody that we talk to, it's actually a movement. And that movement piece makes it feel like it's moving, like it's something to become part of, as opposed to something somebody else is doing.
Nice.
And really, we are getting people moving. This year is going to be a spectacular year for us. There are some things that I can't say on air with you yet, but there are a lot of things working that are very exciting. But there are a couple of conversations that we're having that could put a couple very large gardens on our list in the very near future.
I like it.
We have Matthew's garden that is tentative at the moment. I mean, we have a date set, but we have to do some conversating between us about what we're doing, because it might be a little early to put plants in the ground because we might have another freeze. And so we're a little cautious about that. We're going to have some discussion with our expert on the subject.
Fair.
And figuring out that. But whatever we do, we will be doing something on the 23rd that is garden related, and doing prep work for Matthew's garden. If you didn't know, one of our board members, Matthew Barrett, has sectioned off a part of his front lawn that he is turning into a food forest to feed his entire community.
Nice.
We are working now with 3 gardens that we're getting ready to start scheduling. There are a lot of logistical things we want to work out. I am looking currently for grants that will bring in small amounts of money that will allow us to buy tools that we can put into a tool library to help people not have to make large investments for things like rototillers, so we can come out and rototill their yard and get it ready for growing. And we already have several hand tools. One of the things I will leak a little bit is we have a source for manpower now to show up to do the jobs with us.
Okay.
So we'll talk about that another time. But we are very excited about the things that are going on. And I've talked a little bit with the food banks, 3 of the food banks, about the fact that when we're doing these gardens, part of what we're pursuing is that a portion of the harvest goes to the food banks.
Oh, I
to
like it.
to help create food security. So as you see, this really is a movement to create security for the people in Kitsap County, one neighborhood at a time. And food security is the first thing we're looking at, but water security is huge. I was talking to a couple of people at Mesa Redonda this morning, and when I said water security is part of what we're doing, they looked like they just breathed a sigh of relief. And I have to follow up with them and find out, why is it that that's so important to you? Because there's a story here I don't know, and I need to know it.
Mm-hmm.
And Terry needs to know it because she drives the water piece of this.
Right.
So we are doing a lot of work moving forward. Um, I was just telling Marwan before we came on the show that I have just signed up with Blink, BLINQ, which is a digital business card app that you put on your phone. And I'm creating digital business cards for us so that we can move away from paper business cards, but also because it allows us to track. We can capture people's business card information as well, and we can track the information that we're sharing so that we can actually respond more quickly to people as opposed
Okay.
to waiting for my brain to kick in. Oh, I talked to this person, I got to get back to them. Or the literal pile of business cards I have on my desk right now that have to be entered into the system, so that I can completely forget about them because I don't have a direct contact to my system. And
I got a pile too.
yeah, to be blunt here, I've looked at a lot of databases that are supposedly ready to go for nonprofits, for everything. They're all sales focused. We don't do sales, so that doesn't really work for us. And the way it's all set up, we'd have to rewrite everything. Every time we talk to somebody who has a reasonable looking one, I say, "Oh, now you just have to pay $10,000 to these people to come in and set it up for you."
Oh,
And I'm
wow.
like, "Oh, time out. That doesn't work for us." I could write an Access database that would work, but it wouldn't be integrated. And Blink actually offers one that will do most of what we need to do.
Okay.
So those are all good things, and it's a
Is that
reasonable
free?
cost. No, it is not free. We do have a 30-day free subscription to it.
Oh, I just downloaded the app, so I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I want to
Well,
delete it.
you can do a free business card for yourself on there.
Oh, you
But
can.
But if you do it for your organization, it's about $5 a month, $6 a month, something like that per business card. But it actually gives you the app. The app gives you the follow up information as well.
What do you mean by the follow up information?
I mean, like you can go to the team and you can see you can manage all your team cards. So if somebody leaves, if somebody comes in, you can create a new business card for them. But you also get to see all of the people that are talking to the team, so that you can make sure that you have information, you're getting information back to people. For us, again, we're not selling anything. So when we are looking at that information, we're making sure that you get the information you need. If you want us to do a garden, we'll know about it. It's not like a handwritten note somewhere that we may or may not get to. And that, again, we're a small organization. We don't have lots of money to throw around. So we are trying very hard to make sure that we are responsive to people and that we get gardens, because our goal is to have a garden in every neighborhood in Kitsap County. Because with that, we have true food security.
Did you say every neighborhood in Kitsap County?
That's our goal. Every neighborhood in Kitsap County, we want a garden.
I like it. Hit the horn for that one.
And we were talking. Well, as I said, I was at Mesa Redonda this morning, and there were a couple ladies there, and I cannot remember their organization name, but they respond and are responsible for providing assistance to new parents on Bangor. So it's pretty much Navy focused, which is fine. But one of the ladies said, "God, I wish we could have gardens all across Bangor at the housing there, but it would be so many hoops to run to." But she grabbed one of our cards anyhow. So
did I miss something? Did they have their meeting today?
Yeah, this morning, 8:30.
Oh man, I feel really bad because I usually broadcast that meeting.
Yeah, we talked about you this morning.
That I was missing.
Well, that was mentioned.
Oh man, it's not on my calendar. I literally forgot.
Yeah, we did. It's the first one I've ever been to, and you've been hounding me to go, and it was very useful, and I made some really good contacts there. But we talked about the Conduit Network. Martita was talking about the podcast show in Spanish.
Yes.
And when she finished that, I said, but let me expand on that a little bit. The Conduit Network is the one place you can get news about all the stuff you need to know in Kitsap County. There is no other resource for a lot of this information. And I do, Marwan and I do a show. We're doing one today called Tipping Points and Puzzle Pieces. It's our 107th episode. And we talk about how we engage the communities. And that's what we do. So we did pitch the Conduit Network today.
Oh, nice. Okay. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Usually I'm there, and I know most of the people that attend, on a monthly basis. One thing that's really impressive about that meeting is, one, it's 8:30 in the morning, and it's packed.
Yeah.
Folks come out for it. And there's so much information. You probably had a stack of papers, when it was time to go.
Yeah. And for us, it's like we talk to people in neighborhoods. So it's good to know who the resources are, so we can direct people that direction as we're talking to them in their home, saying, "Oh, you need this need." Well, these people do that. So yeah,
that's awesome.
I was a little surprised to see PSE there, but yeah, that was kind of cool. Kayak, Kitsap Immigration Assistance Center, did a presentation. Annika talked about all of the things they did. I had no idea all the things they did. And I've been by their tables at several events, and I had no idea of the breadth of things that they're engaged in. Everything from helping people with ICE to advocating for second languages to be on, available for working with the court systems, to legal assistance for people who are fleeing bad situations. A whole range of things I had no idea they were doing, besides the family assistance things. So that was very impressive to know that. I will be attending more meetings. Terry's going to be going with us. But for those of you who don't know, Terry Selman is one of our board members. She has been taking up more and more of the roles that I can't do all the time. She will be going with me to the next meeting, and then she will be our representative at the meetings forward from that point forward.
Oh, hey. Okay.
For those of you who don't know, Mesa Redonda and several of the members of the Mesa Redonda meetings will be at the La Familia swap meet on April 6th at the Kitsap Mall parking lot across from Kohl's. We will have a table there, and we'll be answering questions for folks, as well as several of the other people. Nice. There's good music. If you don't speak Spanish, that's okay. A lot of people who are bilingual will be there to assist you.
Oh, that sounds fun. You've been busy.
Yeah, so those are the updates. I don't think I've actually had a day off in literally. I mean, normally I say when I don't have a day off, I'm doing some work, but I have been busy morning to night for 3 weeks now. And it doesn't seem like it's going to slow down much for a while. But there are some things coming on. But the important thing is that we're launching the movement. And it's not like we're changing what we do, but we're changing the focus of what we do a bunch. And we're changing the messaging. And we changed our logos, our logo significantly. Instead of the ring of people holding hands with Resilient Communities Thrive, we're basically, we keep adding to that, making it bigger and bigger and less readable. So we just shifted back to the world here with the puzzle pieces, because it's all about all of us coming together and bringing our puzzle pieces to the table. And that seems to be a more relatable work. And we kind of want people in Kitsap to know this isn't just Kitsap County.
Oh, I like it.
So moving forward, Resilient Ecosystems is going to be advertising resilient community movements and resilient community projects as our focus, with the movements underneath it, of which Kitsap County is one, not the only one. Because as we're doing this, we are documenting what works, what doesn't work, what fails, what doesn't fail, how to look at things for your area, which is not going to be the same as our area and doesn't have the same needs. And we're compiling a basically how to create resilient communities and grassroots networks in your area to address needs. And those will, when we are finished with those, which we're hoping by the end of this year, we'll have the volume 1 out. They're free to anybody who wants to start the project in their area, because we feel that creating resiliency, literally a movement, creating a resiliency movement with continuity in your area and doing it neighborhood by neighborhood in each region, while they have different priorities and they have different focuses and different needs, in the end, they will have similar priorities. And if we work together, meeting those very human priorities, we will create a better world and a more human world than we currently have.
Now, is that safe to assume that that's in part of some of the viewers that we have throughout the country and other countries that you're in conversation with?
Absolutely. I have been in constant contact, at least once a week, with people from all over the world through a group that I'm part of. And they're interested in what we're doing. And as we develop the methodology and we are able to hand off to them, especially say, don't assume that this is going to be, what it is for everybody. These are the things you have to look at. And there'll be more things that you develop, and we hope you feed that back to us so that we can include them in future volumes.
Mm-hmm.
This is completely interactive, completely focused on humanity. And, it is not the do this, check this box off, and this will work. This is, here's what the goal is. Here's what you need to know. Here's what we don't know you need to know, but you'll figure it out. And this is what the end goal is that you have a group of people bringing their puzzle pieces to the table and developing questions that need to be answered and priorities from that you can all address together. And while you're doing those things, while that seems all big and hard up here, while you're doing those things, you create food security, you create water security, you create power security, you create an environment that supports your humanity.
Absolutely.
So I've talked to a lot of people about this, and as I talk to a lot of people about this, the same thing comes back. It says, that's really cool. I'm glad you're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
That second part, that I'm glad you're doing this, there's the problem. That's why it needs to be a movement. People need to become involved in the movement.
Well said.
So, yeah, I am setting up the template. We are proving the case, but it's really up to you to do the work. And we're here to help you in any way we can to make that work. So that's the whole point of it being a movement. It's a project to us. It's a movement to you.
So is it fair to say if they want to meet in person, can they do that this Sunday?
They absolutely can. Every Sunday at Cups Cafe at 4th and Pacific, we meet from 10 to noon. And, just come have a cup of coffee with us. We're not going to sit there. At first we used to bring brochures and we used to bring paper and we used to bring banners and all this other stuff. The reality is just come have a cup of coffee with us. And if you're financially challenged, we have a card up there to buy you a cup of coffee.
Okay. Yeah, so, I like it.
So, yeah, this is about people. I mean, if you're not a person, then, this really isn't about you. But I don't know too many people that aren't a person. And the reality is that the name of this program is Tipping Points. Tipping points are somewhere between 16 and 25%. Closer probably to 20 is what we think. We get 20% of the people moving in the same direction, pushing the human need first, and suddenly we get change.
Mm-hmm.
But until we do that, we're going to get the same old, same old.
Yeah.
And Marwan, why don't you tell them about how good the same old is as we're coming into an election year?
Well, man, the cost of our food, our housing, our transportation, I could go on, but I think that's probably 3 things. That's enough.
Yeah, water, power. Though I did hear from the PSC folks that They have a program that is just launched that will cut your power bill costs due to financial need. And they have information that you can get that for you. I know power is a huge cost. Another piece of news. I am working very closely with another board member, Matthew Barrett, who is very involved in renewable energy and solar. He goes by the nom de plume of Solar King of Kitsap. And sorry for the French word. It's just one of those things. He's also known as the Solar King of Kitsap. We're going to be working on a grant this year that could bring a significant amount of money into Kitsap County to put solar panels and storage on low-income housing.
Oh, wow.
And we have started the conversations now with people who manage and own low-income housing apartments and houses, looking for memorandums of understanding from them so that we can put the loan together. The paperwork for the grant together, and basically show that we have agreements with these people that if the grant is made available, we can actually put solar on people's homes.
Okay. What was the word you were apologizing for?
Oh, nom de plume. It's basically another name. And Terry usually kicks me in the butt when I say things like that because people say they don't understand French. They don't understand what the word means. And I'm old, so a lot of words that were in common usage 30, 40 years ago are words that I use today. And then I get blank looks from people. So nom de plume is another name for, like if you're a writer and your real name is X and you go by Y when you write books, that's your nom de plume.
Okay. Well, thank you for
So,
that. That's not the word of the day, everyone, but that is a learning minute.
yeah, I have not put up the word of the day, but I do call people to look at last week's word, which I put up on Friday, which was, and let me pull it up so I do not forget it. It's a very important word, and I actually was watching Beau of the Fifth Column,
Mm-hmm.
and this was a word that came up from him. And just a second as I bring it back here. And I've been cussing Facebook all day because they've been changing things again.
No.
And it
Yeah, I
makes
think they're doing something pretty significant, right?
I don't know, but it's a pain in the behind.
Yeah, I was at a conference last week, and I think that's when I got the alert. I haven't
Yes.
had a chance to look into it.
Well, what they're doing is screwing everything up again. Moral injury is the word.
Oh, moral injury. All
Moral
right.
injury. Moral injury refers to the psychological, social, and spiritual impact of events involving betrayal or transgression of one's own deeply held moral beliefs and values occurring in high stakes situations.
Now, what's interesting about that, I'm pulling that up just so other folks can see it. What is interesting is this is the first thing that popped up, which was www.ptsd.va.gov.
Yep.
Interesting. And Psychology Today, which is pretty reputable. And here they have the wiki. I think I like your definition better than wiki. Good starting point, but that can be changed. Interesting.
Anyway, it's fairly common today. It's another one that you can talk about, like you would talk about cognitive dissonance.
Mm.
And so these are things that, I mean, we hold these beliefs and we get challenged in the beliefs, and sometimes we get challenged to the point where we have to change them, and there is a cost for changing
Mhm.
that, especially when you think you're adamantly right about something.
Usually am.
Yeah, I know. I hate it when I'm wrong. It's a real moral injury when I'm wrong. No,
It is.
but yeah, it's important to understand, and it's nice that they codify these words, but these are all speed bumps, obstacles toward being more human. in a lot of ways. And we have to recognize they exist because our culture is so very broken.
We're both doing the same thing simultaneously. I love it.
Yep.
Yeah, pick your choice. Pick your poison there, folks.
Yep. Whichever one you want to do. It's a point of understanding that, when you hold on to a belief and you're not flexible enough to see that it may not be right, it's the difference between a practice and being a practice and a theory. If you're holding a theory as practice, and in practice it proves that the theory is incorrect, and you're not flexible enough to change the theory, nothing good comes from it, either to yourself or to others. And actually, Einstein said, in theory, practice and theory are identical. In practice, they are not. And it's just simply true. A theory is an idea that is yet to be proven. So these are things we have to look at as we move toward humanity. And this is why it's so important to meet people where they are. When I talk about the workshop series, and I have people say, well, where's your syllabus for it? I say, I don't have a syllabus for it. Well, what? It's something I can't study and remember and test for? I said, okay, that's not how this works. How this works is we have a starting point concept to get your head wrapped around. And you and 6 other people are in this room, and you all come from extremely different places, and you have all these different ideas, and we have all these different experiences. And it's up to the trainer, in this case me, to meet you where you are and bring you together to the same point. That is not an easy thing. Let me just tell you. And it's very confusing to the people who go to the workshops, because they're expecting a classroom and books and tests and things they can memorize for it. And in this, you have to think, you have to feel, you have to try and understand things that may not be within your paradigm today. So, paradigm being your worldview. Mm-hmm. So, it is a challenge. The workshops are not for the faint of heart. It is a challenge for people to learn to see things differently and to understand that their place in the universe isn't the center of it, but it is a part of a whole. And you have to understand that a lot of things aren't about you that you take to be about you. And that's not an easy thing to come up with. So understanding things like moral injury, cognitive dissonance, these are things that are common issues within our society of how we see things and how we can't overcome a lot of things that are a challenge to us. So in these workshops, we have no structure per se. There is a structure, but it isn't a educational structure, so that we can have a conversation that brings us all to the same point.
Is it safe to say that this might not always be a safe space?
Well, we do our best to make it a safe space, but you bring what you bring. And we will challenge a lot of what you bring. Or we will ask you to challenge a lot of what you bring. The point of the workshops are to train certain people, and I'm not certain people like, we say, you can't be this way because you're this, or you can't do this. Everyone's welcome, but some people aren't going to get through it. And some people aren't going to come back to it after the first round because it's too hard. But if you get through the 12 workshops, you can go to your neighborhood, and the guy who pisses you off at the corner, you'll be able to talk to him, and it won't piss you off anymore. And you'll be able to listen and find out where your commonalities are. And that's what the goal is, to get you to a place where you can engage with people and get them to engage with you and create a safe space.
Nice.
And then you become an ambassador to your neighborhood to start the garden and start the conversation and start changing the world. But understand, it's generational work. It's not a light switch. You're not going to go back, talk to everybody, and think that it's going to happen overnight.
Those are facts.
So, what you do is you start, if you get 20% of the people, that's a tipping point. You start
It is.
providing food for your entire neighborhood and reducing their food costs and have a healthier food, then suddenly that's reaching another tipping point and more people will get involved and more people will get involved. But that takes time. It might take 3 or 4 years before the majority of your neighborhood is engaged in the process.
And people, I believe, many people are desperate
Yeah.
for those conversations and those relationships to start, and everyone is kind of hoping that there's some catalyst that would bring folks together.
And the workshop series makes you the catalyst to do that.
Hmm.
And that's what we're hoping for. Also, we have a gentleman who's actually a bus driver for Kitsap Transit. His name is Greg. He's one of the senior drivers. He and his family have been doing this for their neighborhood for over a decade. They have been growing food and providing food for their neighborhoods, having annual meetings to talk about what they're going to grow, and doing this for over a decade. And we are planning an event in late April. I think it's 24th. I'm not certain. I will let you know. Please go to the Kitsap Resiliency Project page to see that when we put it up. And he will be there telling his story. He's got several pictures about what it started out as and how it has progressed over the years. And he will tell you that it is possible, and he's been doing it with his family. You're up to the Resiliency Rocks page.
Hmm.
Okay, so this is our group. The Resiliency Rocks is our group. It has been mostly inactive. We set it up as a group where people are to engage, and we have 84 lurkers. All of the posts that go to this page are coming from Terry or I or one of the board members. It's very depressing. But it's there for those. The Kitsap Resiliency Project page is where we spend most of our time because we post all. You'll see all of that here too. But until people start responding back to us, we're not going to spend a lot of time on this page. The surprise of the month, and this came from the nonprofit showcase from Green Drinks last week
Hmm.
that we were at. We had several great conversations from there. Except people started going to the Resilient Ecosystems page, which I tried to cancel because we were focused on the Kitsap Resiliency Project page. And now that page is live again, so I'm having to spend my time revamping that page and bringing it back live
Hey,
because people have decided that that's where they need to go. But that page is going to be focused on resilient ecosystem stuff.
no, that's
This,
great. I like
yeah,
it.
and this page is going to be focused on all the stuff we're doing in Kitsap.
Yep, I like it.
So, for those of you who don't know, Marwan is the president of the board of directors. So, this is a lot of it's coming as a surprise to him because I just kind of go out and do my own thing and then come back and tell the board what I did, and then they can tell me if I'm doing it wrong or not.
Yeah, and as you can see, the show is live
Yep,
on the page.
it is. So you can watch us talking to you, watching you.
Inception.
Yep,
And there's the word of the week from last week.
yep. I will be putting another one up today. I'm working on what that's going to be. It's just been, I literally got up a little after 7 this morning and started working, and I have not stopped since.
Nice. Well, and there's really good information here also. Like right now, you're looking at the climate victory, gardening practices. I really encourage and challenge folks this year, whether it's a windowsill garden or something, um, more grand. Just start. If you've got kids, if you have elders, something fun to do. If you just have other folks in the house and you're trying to find something new to do this year, there are things that you can do that don't take a lot of input, a lot of money at all, and it's just great. And once it gets going, it's a snowball, and it will just kind of roll in on itself and start to grow. And you'll find other people too, and you can ask questions. Folks will answer questions here. I take it you're going to talk about the Water Bandits film.
Yeah,
as
actually,
important.
Terry will be talking about that one. She's been on top of that and posting a lot of good information about water. I did want to say that later in the harvesting season, I will make sure to post. That was last week's show. Yeah, later in the harvesting season, I will post zucchini recipes for those of you who are brave enough to grow zucchini.
The Zooks. All right.
Yeah. So
There's a zucchini lasagna, right?
yeah, that's one of my favorite things to make.
Ah, nice.
So, by the way, this is if you haven't, this is a little bit me of slapping people's hands. I hate memes. I hate them. If you do not write it yourself, just think twice before posting it because they're there to elicit emotional responses and they don't give you any real information. They're just hooks. I saw a meme about this and then I went out and searched it down.
Mm.
And it was actually an article about a mother putting the school system in their place about truant officers calling out her child for missing time in a class when she deemed it necessary that he needed a mental health time.
Mm.
Think about it. School systems are a machine to pump you through the machine. They have rules, they have this, they have that, and one size fits all, except it doesn't. And kids need time sometimes to process, to think, to engage. And our school system is getting more and more and more like a machine. And that's an issue.
Well, it is a law, right?
It is. But if the parent gives the permission of gives them permission to do so, and in writing, the truant officer should have nothing to say about it. Because I believe in a a child parent relationship, the parents still hold the trump card. Not meant as a political statement.
I'll remain silent.
But yeah, and so I really like the fact that. But I put this.
They call out, right, and there
Yeah.
shouldn't be. Once it's been called out by the parent, that should be the end of it, right?
But the right hand and the left hand don't often know what each other is doing, and then you get into situations and.
Wow.
And far too many people just kowtow immediately to the authority figure when they shouldn't. But
Sounds
the point,
like you're advocating for anarchy, there, sir. Is that the word of the day?
no, I'm advocating for change, and if you don't challenge things that are wrong, it never changes.
Ah, revolution,
Evolution.
evolution. I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah. So my point is that the meme didn't give me any answers, but the article certainly did.
Certainly did.
So yeah, we post a lot of things. Mexico City is running out of water, and our American media has posted almost nothing on it.
From this, and you touched on this. I don't know if it was on the podcast 2 weeks ago, or if it was a private conversation between you and I. What is the potential impact from your viewpoint if this worsens?
Okay, let's just kind of paint a global picture here. This is really Terry's area now, but
Sure.
we have 10 years ago when I was doing research on how much water is on the planet, fresh water is on the planet, it was like 3%. Now it's about 2.5%. Most of it is locked up in glacial ice packs and the sheet ice in Antarctica and the Arctic and Antarctica, which are slowly melting into the ocean. When you hear sheet ice falling off of Greenland, and what the media is telling you about is the rising oceans and the sheet ice is disappearing, what they're really saying is our drinking water just went into the ocean. So this is something we have to pay attention to. It is a global issue, and water security is not a given thing. California has drained most of its aquifers over decades. And there are a list of crises that I'm not going to go into on this program about what happened with that. But California had all this rain and it's got all the surface water up, but very little of it actually is going into the aquifers, because when you drain the first level of aquifer, let's say there's like two sponges, a really big sponge and a smaller sponge. The small sponge is about 700 years to recharge. So you drain that, it's going to take 700 years of average rain to recharge. The lower sponge, which a lot of Central California is into, is going to take 10,000 years to recharge.
10,000 years?
10,000 years. And we drained all of this thing without even thinking about it, because we needed to grow more fruit and vegetables. We needed more cattle. We needed to feed the population in Milwaukee with almonds and wine from California. These are the ways we're thinking that aren't suiting us well. Now, more personally, for those of us on Kitsap Peninsula, we are 100% aquifer here and surface water, and there's not a lot of it. But we have 300,000 people on the peninsula. And I will tell you honestly, from several conversations with various water districts, we have no idea what our aquifers are doing. And we want to bring, and the economic development people are looking to bring 500,000 more people onto the peninsula, more than doubling our current population. And we don't know what the infrastructure is. We don't know if the water can handle it. We don't know if the power can handle it. And we're making this based on developers who want to develop property and governments who need the money from the developers, and not the actual capability of our ability to support those people, let alone the people who are already here.
I'm a little concerned being at the USGS and seeing the last article was 2018.
Yeah.
But that is
pre-COVID. a lot of things stopped happening during COVID.
Wow.
A lot of very important things. I was going back to look for some articles last week, and literally nothing has been said since COVID on several subjects, which I find incredibly troubling.
Sounds like we probably should reach out to our city and see if maybe they'll come on and allow us to ask questions and just give us some explainers on how they believe we're going to be able to accommodate the influx of residents onto the peninsula over the next 20 years or so.
Yeah, and well, they're saying the next decade, so that's kind of frightening in of itself. But I would say that we should probably reach out to KPUD first, because they have their hands on so much of what's going on in Kitsap County. And besides, Marwan, you and I are going to be having several conversations with them in the near future.
Well, fantastic. I look forward to it.
Yep.
And so I'm sure they will be friendly and fruitful.
Actually, probably so.
Good.
They have the commissioners, the current commissioners, seem to be pretty open to looking at ideas that are different than what they've had to this point. And what we've been doing to this point in the whole county has been pretty frightening. We're using technologies that are ancient. And for our power, I lived in Port Orchard, right behind Waterman Pier. And I could look out my window past the house in front of me, and I'm looking at a power pole that goes down into the ocean. And I'm thinking, salt water and power, that's not a good combination. And this is, I mean, just one example of all of the things. Quite honestly, and if anybody has different information than I have, please, text it to us or reach out to me on the Kitsap Resiliency Project page. My email is mark@reseco.org. But here's what I understand is that if we start having greater heat waves in Kitsap County, as is likely to happen over the next few years, matter of fact, this Saturday is supposed to be 70 degrees.
Really?
In March, yes. So if we have greater heat waves, if everybody in Kitsap suddenly went out and bought an air conditioner and turned it on, the power grid would go down. If you have different information than that, please let me know. But that is my current understanding, that if there was a sudden draw on power here to that magnitude, we would go down and be without power for a while they figure it out.
That's terrifying.
Bring 500,000 more people on. We generate no power here. Our power comes through Gorst and across the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. So we need to look at a lot of things. We need to look at our water. We need to look at our power. We need to look at our food. And we sure as heck need to look at our shelter situations. And we'll be talking more about that as we go forward. Each of these podcasts will be more focused a little as we go into the summer. We'll be talking about the garden a lot. We'll be talking about partnerships that we're making. We'll be talking about the movement, but movements only work if people join them. So definitely show up on Sundays, join our movement, because it's really your movement. We don't own the Kitsap Resiliency Project. We don't own any of the resiliency projects. You do. We will just provide the tools, the facilitation, the education necessary in any way we can to make it successful.
I like it.
So, and that's all I got to say today, Marwan. So you can tap dance now.
Well, I also sing.
Okay.
What I'd like to do is, we haven't had a conversation in 2 weeks because I haven't been
Yep.
on for 2 weeks. And I've also been sick. So I was here. I was at a conference last Wednesday. I think I was on that previous week. The week previous to that, I was sick and gone. So I just wanted to just check in with you and just see how you're doing, just overall as a person from a human standpoint.
I'm actually doing pretty good. There are some things coming up that are going to be rather challenging, not necessarily for me, but for the organization. I may actually be somewhat absent for up to 3 months.
Wow. Okay.
And so I'm going to be, on Friday when we talk, I'm going to be asking people to step up a little bit because I will do as much as I can, but there's something coming up that will significantly improve my life, but it's going to require me being focused on something else for up to 3 months. And I
But
don't
it's a
know how much time.
positive thing.
It's a very positive thing.
Good.
But it's going to be taking my time away, so I'm going to have as much time to focus on the project. So between now, that won't happen until May.
Mhm.
So between now and May, I'm going to be setting up a lot of things. You and I will probably be doing forward-thinking podcasts, so that we can get some things out. They won't be live, but they will be relevant.
Well, I enjoy that. And so you've got some good things coming up.
Yep.
How are you doing physically?
Pretty good right now. I'm actually working on losing a little bit of weight by being a little more active, and getting a little healthier on that front. Not that I'm unhealthy. It's just that I am not as healthy as I can be. I spend far too much time in front of a computer screen and not enough time walking my dog, which he much appreciates when I do go out and walk with him. But my focus going into summer is to be healthier because I intend to be working in people's gardens a lot and digging up turfs of grass to help people replace them with food. We have a second garden coming up that we're working on scheduling in Port Orchard.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
we're going to be down there turning their backyard into food forest as well. And then we have another one on the board. Again, I can't talk about it yet because we haven't solidified everything. That could be extraordinarily high profile. And someone just mentioned at the same meeting that they have an acre of land that's up out by Island Lake Park that they would like to turn into a food forest. An acre of land is a significant amount of property.
It is. I have no idea where Island Lake Park is, but
Central Valley up toward Paulsville before you
Gotcha.
make the big turn.
So what are you doing specifically? You're already walking your dog. You already have a really good diet already because of your dietary restrictions.
Yeah, I'm cutting out sugar completely. I tend to cheat a little bit here and there and eat a little sweets, but I'm kind of cutting that back now. Strangely enough, side note, I'm a big fan of dried mango. I don't like dried mango with sugar in it. I don't like dried mango with chili powder on it. I don't like dried mango fancified in any way, shape, or form. I like dried mango.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to have it around so I can eat it as a snack. It takes care of the sweet edge. It keeps digestion clean and smooth. Um, Keeps the energy levels up when I'm starting to flag a little bit. And it's getting harder to find. We used to buy fairly large bags of dried mango at Costco. Not available.
Wow.
They've been out for a month now. Um, Grocery outlet has gotten less of a selection than they used to have. All of the stores, they have plenty with sugar on them, plenty with flavoring on them, but nothing is just dried mango.
Just strip it down. Just give me the basics.
Yeah, I just want dried fruit. Um, for those of you who don't know, the Latter day Saints have a Bishop's Warehouse over off of Loxie Egan's, actually over Auto Center Way in Wilkes, that is open to the public Saturday mornings, I believe. Don't quote me on this. You can check and find out. But between 10 and noon. And they have dried fruit. They have uh, potato pearls that are supposed to be phenomenal. I've never tried them. But I will tell you that it's the best apples I've ever had. I get a 28-ounce can of apples, and I will eat them in 3 days. It's like
Well,
chips for
Jesus
me.
Christ of Latter-day Saints.
But they, the Latter Day Saints are about preparation,
Mm-hmm.
and they open. I mean, they're not going to try and recruit you or proselytize you when you go there, but you can go there and get canned food, dried food, meat, all kinds of things for your larder.
Well, I would love to have a conversation with them if they are kind of known preppers. You want to talk to experts and see, what works for them, what doesn't, what you can incorporate.
Funny you should mention that.
Hmm.
I just had a meeting on Sunday
Oh, did
with
you?
them, having a conversation. But yeah, it's in their DNA. It really is in their DNA. And we were talking about their resources. We were talking about what they do, how they do it, and of course, I mentioned the issue about um, people being put off by the fact that it's a religion that's known for proselytization, and they have different divisions that do different things. And their service division, those young men that come and ask if they can help, they're not there to proselytize to you. They are there to serve you and help you. Period. That's what they're about. And I did not know that until then.
Wow. Well, and it's good to get out and talk to people, right?
Yeah, it is. So we
Otherwise,
had a
you miss
conversation,
something.
and that's when I found out that the warehouse is open. I knew that they were open to people, but I didn't know it was quite that formal opening. Yeah, come on in, place an order, uh, make sure that you've got yourself covered because you're part of our community, and that's the way they
Wow.
look at it. So
All
that
right.
was very, very interesting.
Well, in our last couple minutes, I know we started a few minutes late. I just wanted to, one, earnestly check in with you.
Hmm.
But two, I wanted to do that here live and just encourage people to check in on each other. It's really important to do. Uh, People may smile, and oftentimes they're grinning and bearing it. They're getting through. Many folks are resilient, but they could be treading water and they're in survival mode. And so just a how you doing may not be enough. I know we're all busy and there's so many things to do, right? We're looking for the tipping point in so many different aspects of our life, whether it's individually or as a community or as a family or whatever you're working on. But just taking a little bit of time out and earnestly just checking in with the people that you care about, the people that are in your orbit, truly goes a long way because you can't know otherwise. And we do a great job of masking our pain, whether it's physical, whether it's mental, or whatever the case may be. So we know that we care about each other. It doesn't take a lot to do, but people tend to really appreciate it. Terry says their canned goods have a 30-year shelf life. Ooh, I like that. So I'm encouraged. I definitely want to go and check that out. And they seem to have the spirit of resilient ecosystems for sure.
So I did a tour of their warehouse about 7 years ago with the Multi Faith Alliance, which is a group of priests from several churches. And Terry did one just recently, and we were trying to get the board of directors together to go through it. But I would very much like to get the board to go down there on a Saturday morning and have us go and look at what they have to offer and see, so we can benefit from ourselves and any of our people who follow our show or listen to our show. Please join us, and we'll let you know. Look at the Kitsap Resiliency Project site on Facebook, and we will let you know. And for those of you not on Facebook, look at the go to the website www.reseco.org, and the About Us at the very bottom of the drop down menu. You'll see events or something, and it will have the calendar, and you can look at the calendar. We will be better about putting the events and such where you will find us, though we're not bad now. So you'll see us as we get events. You can go there if you're not on Facebook, and that way you don't have to be on social media. And I get it. Also, one last announcement is I am actively working on the Mighty Networks page. We are creating a Resilient Communities movement page on Mighty Networks that will be a social media platform that is not linked to any of the others. You're not going to get, political or hate or racist BS on it. It will just be the stuff that we do with you, and a place for us to message each other and you to message us, and for everybody to connect to create this movement.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. So again, as we wrap, join us for coffee on Sundays at 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Cups Cafe, 4th and Pacific in Bremerton. I put up all the different ways that you can access us, send messages, send emails, engage. We're here. As Mark said, he's very diligent on what he's doing. Terry is also staffing the pages. And so we want to hear from you. We want to be of help, but we can only be of help if you engage. So this is our open invitation. We do not have a word of the day, but it will be coming forthright on there, and we'll challenge you for next Wednesday to be able to say, hey, that's the word of the day. So pop it in there. As always, for Mark Boatwright Frost, I am Marwan Cameron. This is Tipping Points and Puzzle Pieces. You're watching the Conduit Podcast Network. At 5 o'clock tonight, we will have City Council. If you don't join us, as always, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself.
Wait a minute. What do you mean you will have City Council? That has so many connotations, and my mind boggles.
Well, I'm going to be good. I'm just going to write a letter. So there's some things that are not going well for us that we need to address with City Council. But they have been, we had Jane on a couple of weeks ago, and I actually have quite a bit of contact with City Council. So do engage. They do listen, and they want to hear from you. So, things won't get changed if you don't speak up and speak out. So that's truly important. No, nothing bad by that. Just, we'll have it here, broadcast live here on
there we go.
On the Conduit at 5. Not like I will have their heads. Nothing like that. All right. So we will see you later. Ta-ta for now.
And be here same bad time next week.